Sharp Game here, coming at you with another video from ChooseYourRelationships.com, off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And in this video, I got a question from a long-time subscriber, and he's having a lot of problems with relationships. He jumps from woman to woman. Seems like he's a sucker for love, and it seems like he doesn't like being alone, so he jumps from woman to woman, relationship to relationship, looking for love. And I wrote him an email back, and I told him, I said, hey man, women can't make you happy. Happiness is an inside job. And what happens a lot of times, man, I know for myself, my own personal experience, it took me a long time to really get to that point. Because what happens is, if you've been following me for a while, if you read any of my books, you know my story. I was very young and inexperienced in my teens, high school, and I went to college and I started hanging out with a lot of athletes, mainly on the football team. And once I started hanging out with them, I started attending a lot of parties. I realized that majority of things I thought about women, my whole perception of women was wrong. And I realized that a lot of these guys, these athletes, didn't have to do very much to get women at all. They didn't. The women just wanted to be with them because of them. That was that's what I learned. That was my biggest lesson, being around a lot of athletes and entertainers too. Women just wanted to be with them. They didn't have to negotiate. They didn't have to beg. They didn't have to do any of that stuff. So I realized that when I was in college, I was going at this thing completely wrong. And a year or two later, I went into the Navy, and the Navy my experience in the Navy just took me to another level, man. Basically, when I went in the Navy, I had so much success so fast. I was kind of like on a high. You might have an experience like this before. You have so much success so fast. And, it was my experience in the Navy was kind of like it's kind of like a priceless, unbelievable experience being in the Navy. I had so much success so fast at an age of what? I was 21, and I did 4 years in the Navy, got out. So I don't know. I mean, being in the Navy is the closest thing to a celebrity, and anyone that knows me that used to be in the Navy with me, they would co-sign me with that statement. So what happened is when I got out the Navy, I kind of had to reinvent myself. And I went into a kind of a state of depression. This happens with a lot of athletes too. A lot of entertainers, a lot of celebrities. What happens, man, is you have so much success, you have so many wins, you have so much people that's giving you so much attention. Sometimes, man, it can be a gift and a curse all at the same time. And what happens, man, is like, I didn't really know how to handle it. I didn't really know, and I didn't really have anybody to talk to because, at the time, the only people that I could have talked to were still in the Navy, And the ones that weren't in, the ones that got out the Navy, I didn't keep in contact with them. So I kind of had to go at it alone, man. So I went in like a depression for like 6 months, because when I got out, I kind of got a wake up call. I realized that they don't care anything about veterans in this country. They don't care about anything about veterans at all. So I got a wake up call, and I had to reinvent myself. And the biggest mistake I made, man, is I drunk too much of my own Kool-Aid. I was feeling myself too much. And see, what I should have done, and what I'm going to recommend you do, is never seek validation from other people. And this happens with a lot of celebrities, because once you start seeking validation from other people, once you start feeling yourself a little bit too much, you become kind of conditioned to that. You have to have that that validation. It's kind of like a high. It's kind of like getting high. Once the high go down, you crash. And this is why a lot of people go into depression, man. And this is why I say happiness is an inside job, because everything you probably looking for, the answer is inside you. We've been conditioned to look elsewhere, or look to another person, or look to an institution, or look to material things. But nothing outside of me ever really made me happy. Really, it was always like the temporary high, temporary happiness. But the things that really mean a lot to me, is usually it's not really outside of me. Really, I mean, stuff like cars, clothes, women, that stuff. It just, and money too. None of that stuff really made me happy. It felt good. I mean, but it just never really lasted long. Really, I mean, it's been times where I rode around with $5,000, $10,000 cash because it made me feel good. But nothing really changed. I mean, I was the same person. I mean, I didn't act differently. I might have looked differently. I might have like different type of clothes on, or name brand clothes, and all that stuff. But none of that stuff really made me happy. What really makes me happy is just being around the people that I love, like, care about, and want to work with. And I'm kind of like, I'm the type of person where it's like, if other people around me about themselves, that kind of makes me feel good. That's really how I am. That's the only thing that really turns me on, so to speak. When other people around me, when I make a difference in my friends and family's lives, that's the stuff that really make me happy. When I have a chance to spend like the holidays, like Thanksgiving, with my family, that's stuff that makes me happy. Like cars, clothes, all that stuff can be taken away like overnight, really. You know, and that's happened to me before. I mean, it was at one point I lost everything. I lost my within 2 weeks. I lost my job, car, and somebody stole all my money. That happened to me. And that's around the same time I went into the little depression that I fell in. And it was because when you have so many wins over years, you get accustomed to that. You get conditioned to be that way. And if you have a loss, or you don't, if you have a little drop off, it's kind of like you don't really know how to handle it. It's kind of weird how it happens. But a lot of celebrities, if you hear a celebrity talk about how they fell into a depression, as a matter of fact, I was looking at a T-Pain interview a couple days ago, and he said basically the same thing I said. He's had so many wins. He has had so much success over the years. And as soon as he went broke, as soon as he wasn't getting the show money like he would normally get, or as soon as he didn't have a number one hit, he went into the state of depression. So, sometimes we have to, I guess, count our blessings. We have to be grateful for the stuff and the accolades that we get. But we can't forget where we came from, and we can't feel ourselves too much, and we can't drink our own Kool-Aid too much. Because sometimes, even me, and I've done this in the past. Sometimes I got a little too cocky. I've gotten, you know, I was just feeling myself way too much. At one point, um, I was so uh, arrogant until I wasn't willing to listen to anybody because I looked at it like I'm out here making all this money. I got all these women out here from state to state. From South Carolina to North Carolina to Florida to the California. And I'm making money like every day, 7 days a week. I'm traveling on on the planes. I'm driving from state to state. And who are these people to tell me anything? They haven't had the same experience that I had. And they're not even qualified to tell me anything. That was my mindset at the time. But I think we all get a wake up call. You know, this is why, that stuff was fun. Traveling is fun. Meeting different people is fun. Having a lot of women, it was fun. But it didn't make me happy. It really didn't make me happy. What makes me happy is being around the people that I love and care about, and being around the people that I want to work with, that I want to make a difference with. Like, I mean, doing something with my friends and family that we can pass down to the next generation. That's the stuff that really make me happy. That's the stuff that I'll look back on and I'll be proud of that shit. You know, stuff that really matters, not the superficial and shallow and egotistical things that a lot of people make a big deal about today. And it's you might know people that used to be like me years ago. I'm sure you have people around you that's like this. You might be just like this. You might be like that. You might be shallow and egotistical. But everyone go through stages. So it's you know, I'm not surprised. But I mean, as you get older, hopefully you get wiser, and you're gonna realize that you're gonna put things in perspective, and especially when people start dying around you, that's gonna really make you, reassess how you live your life. Because, when my dad passed away 2 years ago, it was like a mind blown experience. I don't know if you had any parents passed away, but it's kind of like both of my parents passed away. My mom passed away last year. My dad passed away like 2 years ago. But if you have any parents, siblings, or anybody passed away, it's kind of a mind blown experience. It was kind of like I'm still in denial. I still can't believe that both of my parents have passed away. It's really a it's really a unbelievable experience. I can't put it in words. how it really feels. But what I do cherish is the memories. The memories is priceless. I can't put a time sticker or a price tag on it, or no amount of money in the world can make me assess the time and the wisdom that my parents passed down to me. Really, man. So, and that's where my parents, they gave me the foundation of what life is really all about, of what game is really all about. That's where it really started from. My parents. It started at home. And I know some people, you know, don't have necessarily the upbringing that I had. I get that, but you can still learn it. And today, I mean, if you're in the 20s, you really have an advantage because when I was growing up, we didn't have access to the internet. So I really didn't have anybody. I couldn't reach out to anybody. I couldn't go on YouTube or Google or Facebook and reach out to somebody, or I couldn't go on Amazon and buy a book if I wanted some information. I had to crack open an encyclopedia or go to the library. But today, you have access to the internet. You can go to the library if you want. You can go on Amazon and buy a book if you want. You can go to conferences and seminars and meet people if you want. You can come and listen to me if you want. And there's a whole lot of other people out here that talk about some of the same stuff or similar stuff that I talk about. And some of these people might be better than me. They have a different perspective than me, or vice versa. So you have an advantage, regardless of if you might not think so. And that's just my perspective. But at the end of the day, nobody can make you happy. Happiness is an inside job. And if you're not happy with yourself, it's almost impossible to be happy with anybody else that come in your life. And when you meet people, when you meet a woman, anybody, first thing you have to assess when you talk to them, get to know them, is who are they, where they came from, and how they were raised, and what they all about. Those are the four things you have to really, you know, take into consideration once you get to know women, just people in general. Because you have to understand, you're only as strong as the people that you have around you. So if the people around you are weak, you're you're not going to go very far in life. You're not. You're not going to go places where you want to go. It's going to be a glass ceiling, because that people are either pushing you forward or holding you back. If they're stagnant, they're going backwards. If you got people around you that's like that, they're going backwards. If you're stagnant, you're going backwards. So if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. Either you're growing or you're dying. That's it. You know, it is what it is. That's not my opinion. That's my experience. So if you like what you heard, share this video. Check out my website, chooseyourrelationships.com. And P.S. and by the way, check me out on Instagram, Sharp Game. I'm over there heavy now. Heavy. So check out my website. Go get the gear, the books. So until next time, I'm out. Peace.